Over 10 plus years ago in the class of 2014, there was a rare specimen of a running back coming out of Hendersonville, Tennessee. Why do I label him as a rare specimen? Great question, my friend. I'll let you answer it. He was an all-around athlete, but here's what stood out the most about him. He was 6'3", 230 pounds. For those of you that don't know, that is extremely tall for a running back. It's not something you see every day. But nobody in high school questioned him being a running back because of his speed and power. He was really explosive, read lanes well, and he was hard to tackle. Here's a fun fact for you. He broke the single-season rushing record in the state of Tennessee. He had 3,357 yards in one season and 43 touchdowns in one season. He would commit and sign with Tennessee, and as soon as he stepped foot on campus, he was making an immediate impact as a freshman. In his first 2 years with the Volunteers, he had over 1,000 rushing yards. But after those 2 amazing seasons, it was crickets. Nobody, not even Tennessee fans, knew what happened to him or what went wrong. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but it was so easy to forget about this young man because they had Alvin Kamara shining like a superstar. And when you have a guy come in like Kamara and he's balling out, you tend to forget about the other running back you once had. There's many questions people have been asked about this guy even till this day. But however, it all circles back to the one. The one big question I want to try to get to the bottom of in today's video. What really happened to Jalen Hurd? To get into Mr. Jalen Hurd's story, we got to throw it all the way back to where things started. He would play his high school football at Beach High School, located in Hendersonville, Tennessee. I'm not going to give you that whole run through, you know how it goes. He was a 5-star recruit, so he was demolishing all the future insurance salesmen and DoorDash drivers. As you can see right here, he was a very prestigious 5-star recruit. Not just any 5-star recruit, had a 98 overall scout grade on 24/7 Sports and ranked as the second best overall athlete in the entire nation. All these college coaches wanted him, but he decided to stay close to home and commit and sign with Butch Jones. Good old Butch Jones. What about that? And the Tennessee Volunteers. Speaking of Butch Jones, I've seen a lot of you in the comment section say we need to make some of these what happened to videos, not just on players, but on coaches. I've been thinking about that. Maybe we should, because I think it'd be interesting to document some of these coaches' rises and falls, especially people like we're talking about right here, Butch Jones. That is neither here or there, different video for a different day. I digress. Getting back on track here, Hurd would commit and sign with the Volunteers, and it started out fantastic. Although Tennessee was, well, they were Tennessee. I mean this in the most respectful way possible. They sucked. The one bright spot on that team in 2014 was Jalen Hurd, one of the best freshmen in the nation. He had multiple games with over 100 rushing yards, and he would finish the season with over 1,000 total yards rushing and receiving combined. I just realized I said earlier in the intro he had over 1,000 rushing yards in his first 2 seasons. My apologies, I meant to say total yards. I will show you his rushing numbers in 13 games played. He had 190 carries for right at 900 yards, averaging roughly 5 yards per carry, 5 touchdowns, but he was also a lethal receiver out of the backfield, a little foreshadowing that comes back into play later in our video. He had 35 catches for 221 yards and 2 touchdowns. 35 catches? Hold on, as a running back? That's low-key kind of crazy. That's like wide receiver 3/wide receiver 2 numbers. That's almost, what is that, like 3-4 catches a game? All in all, not too much to say about that season. Outside of Tennessee fans were happy, they had Jalen Hurd. He was looking like he was going to be a special player, and in that next season, special he was. As a sophomore in 2015, he got even better. In 13 games played, he had 277 carries for 1,288 yards, averaging right at nearly, we'll just round up, 5 yards per carry, 12 touchdowns, and also as a receiver, 22 catches for 190 yards with 2 touchdowns. He was nothing short of greatness in that 2015 season for the Volunteers. Sadly, this wasn't just the peak of his college career, this was the peak of his football career. Yes, that's right, you heard me correctly. Our story is about to, or not even about to, it is going to take a drastic turn. It's crazy to think about it. If he could have declared for the draft after this 2015 season, you're talking about a top 15, top 25 pick, at least in my humble opinion. But with him being so young, he could not declare for the NFL draft, so he had to come back to Tennessee, bare minimum, 1 more year, which would be his junior season in 2016. And things for Hurd, they went sideways, and I mean they went sideways fast. His downfall was a combination of multiple things, but if you gotta ask me, the biggest one is Tennessee's coaching staff in that entire program. I think the main reason for Jalen Hurd's decline in Tennessee is the coaching staff was wanting to run the offense one way, and Jalen Hurd was used to a different way. This was around the time frame where Tennessee was slowly but surely migrating towards the, ironically enough, Alvin Kamara type of running back. Long story short, here's all you need to know. Hurd, Butch Jones, they were not seeing things eye to eye. There was a lot of conflict there. By the way, this is not me guessing or assuming. This is public knowledge. Or not public knowledge. I think a better way of saying it would be public information. But you get the point. Here's reason number 2 for Jalen Hurd's decline. And this has nothing to do with Hurd, but it's more so of Alvin Kamara was coming onto the scene. And with Kamara being so talented, it didn't matter that Hurd's coming off of a career and breakout season as a sophomore rushing for 1,300 yards. Kamara's got to get reps. The greatest example I can give you is it's like Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins at Ohio State. Both of those guys are fantastic. You aren't just going to give Travion Henderson 30 carries per game and Quinshon Judkins 2. Same thing here. The coaching staff at Tennessee was like, look, we're going to be splitting the carries, and Hurd, that just wasn't his play style. He wanted to be the only back. So that hurt him. Reason number 3 for his downfall is he was battling some injuries that year in 2016. Reason number 4, and this is the final one, he was struggling a little bit. And if you want to say he was struggling due to reasons 1 through 3 combined, I have no problem with that whatsoever. Not even to the slightest. It doesn't matter how you chop it up, he was struggling. And you see it in his numbers. I'm going to show it to you right here. You know what they say, men lie, women lie, but numbers, they never lie. His yards per rush, he only played 7 games that year, I'll get to that in just a second, dropped right at 1 yard per carry. For a running back, that is insane to go from averaging right around 4.7 yards per carry to 3.7. 3.7's not bad in the NFL, but college, yeah, you don't like to see that. With all these problems going on and Jalen Hurd not being happy with the coaching staff in the middle of the season, he told Butch Jones, look, I'm out. I'm leaving. So he's gone just like that. I still remember it to this day. Everything happened so fast. Think about it. 2015, one of the best running backs in the SEC. Halfway through the season, 2016, he's not even on the roster. It's crazy how much can change in less than a year, but that's what happened. He had quite a few schools pursuing him, but in 2017, he would announce that he's going to be transferring to Baylor. In 2025, we got the good old transfer portal, but back then, there was none of that. Therefore, he had to sit out the entire 2017 season, which may not have been such a bad thing because with him battling some minor injuries in 2016, it was probably good for his body to get a year-long break. After he sat out that year in 2017, in 2018, he would switch positions from running back to wide receiver. Here's why this is really fascinating. There were people telling him coming out of high school, hey, if you want to play in the NFL, your best shot's going to be wide receiver. You're too tall to be playing running back. But he's a kid, and just like Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurd, he's like, no, I'm not switching positions. I'm sticking to the one that got me here, and I'll never fault anyone for doing that. I think in that year he had to sit down at Baylor, he came to his senses. He talked to some NFL scouts and whatnot. He's like, yeah, you're right. If I want to make it to the next level, I got to change positions right now, and I'm tired of getting beat up as a running back. Running backs don't get paid in the modern era of the NFL for a reason. Their longevity, well, it's not very long. It's as simple as that. Not to say that wide receivers can't get hurt. Anybody can tear their ACL at any given moment in time, but you're not taking as many body blows. What's crazy about all this is he didn't even really play wide receiver at all in high school. Yeah, he caught a couple passes here and there out of the backfield as a running back. He never played wide receiver at Tennessee, so Baylor is going to be his first full year as just a wide receiver. You're probably thinking, all right, he most definitely struggled in his first year as a wide receiver at Baylor, and I would expect most people to think that. But no, and this goes to attest just how insanely athletic Jalen Hurd was. First year ever playing wide receiver, he almost had 1,000 receiving yards. He had 946. Had 4 touchdowns. He also had 48 carries that year for 209 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. So yet again, another season with over 1,000 total yards. The most shocking part about it is he didn't skip a beat whatsoever. When you turned on the TV, you wouldn't go, oh, did that guy play running back? Something looks a little off there. It looks a little wonky. No, he looked like a wide receiver. And if you got to ask me, he fit the part more of a wide receiver because he's roughly, some sites have him listed 6'4". I know I said earlier 6'3", but we'll just say for sake of this video, 6'3.5", 6'4". Yeah, he's more of a wide receiver, has more of a wide receiver build than a running back. When the season was over, he won Big 12 Conference Offensive Newcomer of the Year. These NFL teams and scouts, they took notice of him and they loved him. He wound up getting drafted early in the 3rd round with the 67th overall pick by the San Francisco 49ers. Before we go any farther, we got to talk about this. I know I've already said it. I'm going to say it again. Do you know how crazy it is for someone to get drafted that high with only 1 year of experience playing that said position? It is almost unfathomable to think about it. I just want y'all to appreciate how athletic Jalen Hurd was. Unfortunately, in 2019, he got placed on the injured reserve list with a back injury, and he didn't get to play that season. Heading into 2020, there were high hopes for him, but sadly, he tore his ACL and had to miss the entire 2020 season. So now we're in year 3, and he has not played a single snap in the NFL. He's coming off of 2 major and big-time injuries. Heading into that 3rd year, which is now 2021, he got placed on the injured reserve list again with another knee injury. The 49ers were like, yeah, we're not getting anything out of this guy. We hate to do it, but we got to release him. They released him in November of 2021, and he wouldn't be picked up until July 2023, and that was by the New England Patriots. A main reason for him not being picked up till 2023 is because he was recovering from all those injuries. Shortly after he got signed by the Patriots in August of 2023, he retired from football. The injuries proved to be too much for him, and it's not even like, oh, he gave up. No. Anybody that's been through injuries like that, especially major ones, you know how it goes. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. You can love the game all you want to, but sometimes the game, it doesn't love you back. That's what happened here. His body quite literally could no longer perform. I mean, I don't know how to dumb that down anymore. When I was doing my digging and research for this video, I saw some comments of people saying, oh, well, Jalen Hurd, he's a bust. He was a 5-star recruit and didn't even play a snap or a down in the NFL. That is crazy to think about. Never played a snap in the NFL. But to address that comment, I think that couldn't be any farther from the truth. Or I guess technically if you want to label him as a bust, that's your opinion. But here would be my rebuttal. I refuse to label anyone as a bust if injuries is the thing that derailed your career. The man quite literally could not even prove himself. I don't know how you can call him a bust, but that's just me. I think we should be sitting up here talking about how unreal it is that he got drafted with the 67th overall pick as a wide receiver with little experience even at the position in the first place. If you're wondering what he's doing now, I have no idea, and that's why we got you guys. I know there's someone out there watching this video. You have some connection to Jalen Hurd. Fill us in the comment section. What is he doing? I tried looking him up. He has 0 social media, none to the slightest. If I had to give you my best educated guess, he's probably coaching or something like that, but I know for sure he's done with football. Crazy how his career ended. Many more things I could say. One it off here. I'm curious. I'm going to know your thoughts down below, but bye-bye.